I don't remember receiving any pictures from Lana. Lana said she gave it to you this morning, right? I seem to remember getting something from her then. Let's check that evidence again. There must be a picture in there somewhere. It's probably this. Yeah, there it is. Hey, there's a picture here. Ooh. Oh my. Excuse me. This is the actual crime scene. No other detective saw the crime scene like this. Oh my goodness. I'm sorry guys, my throat. That's because I contacted Criminal Affairs only after I rearranged the scene. Mr. Wright, that piece cut out from his vest, could that be the cloth we found inside Chief Gant's safe? What's this? It's a handprint. That's right, it had Emma's fingerprints. And that cloth, it had fingerprints on it. Whoever fingerprints those must be the real murderer. What? But those fingerprints, they're yours, Emma. Why are your lips turning all purple, Mr. Wright? Anyway, let's get on with the cross-examination. So long as you tell the truth, we should be able to flush out the real murderer. Very well, the defense may now begin its cross-examination. Woo! Oh, Jesus! Come now, Aji. This is the poorest excuse for a trial I've ever seen. Chief Gant. What now? You want to make me out? What now? You want to make me out as the bad guy too? If so, I'd like to put in a word or two in my defense. Haha, you can't. I'm afraid it's too late for that. What? You already declined testimony. That means you forfeited your right to make statements of any sort. This must be the risk the judge was talking about. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy the sound of the noose tightening around your neck. Your own neck. So what? You think I'm worried? Sorry to disappoint you, but I don't need to make any statements. What do you mean? The evidence will do all the talking for me. Even if I can't testify, I can still present evidence. Yes, that's true. Wait, you mean you still have some conclusive evidence? No, I don't. But someone does. Someone? So then, what's your excuse, Righto? Why have you been keeping quiet about it? You don't have something to show us, right? You do have something to show us, right? Something that proves who knocked over Neil Marshall, causing his death. Conclusive evidence that leaves no room for doubt? Is it true, Mr. Wright? If I show that piece of evidence now... Excuse me. Emma's sure to be made out as the murderer. Mr. Wright, if you have any more evidence, present it now. And if you try to conceal anything, you will be the one appearing before the Board of Inquiries. What do I do now? I'd better think this through carefully. I can't afford to make the wrong decision. Should I present that piece of evidence? The one that shows who really killed Prosecutor Marshall? Now think about everything we've learned and watch what decision I make. Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. What? You lie! Chief Gant? You opened my safe. I know you took I know you took what was inside. The conclusive evidence. I don't know what you're talking about. Mr. Wright, why don't you show them? We found it together. Oh, I see. It's because you know the truth, don't you? You know whose fingerprints are on it. That's why you won't present it. What are you talking about, Chief Gant? Can't you figure it out? Take a good look at this picture. See the victim's vest? Notice anything odd about the chest area? It looks like part of it's been cut out for some reason. You mean you had this in your safe? What? That means you, the chief of police, concealing evidence? This is going to be the biggest scandal in the history of the police department. Ha! Impressive. To be honest, I didn't think you had the gal, Righto. Well, I can't just let you pin me up as the murderer. I'll tell you what really happened. What? You mean you admit it to it? I was the first person to arrive at the crime scene that day. It then occurred to me that I could use that situation to control Lana. So you really were manipulating her. I knew Lana. If I made it look like the blame lay with her sister, then when she saw the scene, she would ask for my aid. So you assisted Miss Sky. I told her to arrange all the evidence. I had her plant the knife tip in the victim's body and move the body across the room. And I ended up using that evidence to get Joe Dark convicted. When we rearranged the crime scene, I hid two pieces of evidence. I did this before Lana arrived at the scene. 2 pieces of evidence. You mean those items in your safe? But why? For insurance, of course. Insurance? I was sure my plan would work, but it's always best to be prepared for the worst. I wasn't about to let anyone blame me for a murder that girl committed. You mean you were calculating that far ahead while forging the evidence? Who do you take me for, a fool? I didn't make police chief by dumb luck. See this jar fragment? Oh, see, he's admitting everything. It's amazing. I hid the most legible part of Emma's name. I didn't expect Lana to go and wipe the blood off all the pieces. But if you fabricated all the evidence, what's to say you didn't fabricate the message on this jar, too? Ho, ho, ho. Some people just don't know when to quit, do they? That's why I kept one more item for insurance. You mean that piece of cloth? Come on, Righto, cough it up already. I know you have it. What are you waiting for, Mr. Wright? So you admit to it, then, Chief Gant? That you were hiding the cloth you cut off the victim's vest in your safe? Yes, I admit it. I didn't want to have to do that because being chief and all. But it's a lot better than being portrayed as a murderer. Well, Mr. Wright, what do you have to say for yourself? Just a moment ago you said you didn't have any evidence you could present. Foolish move, Righto. You should have shown it then before it was too late. It's been a long battle. But the moment of truth has finally arrived. As long as I don't mess up here, victory is mine. Show the evidence. Your Honor, I do have evidence to present now. Alright then, let's see this conclusive evidence. The evidence that shows who actually murdered Prosecutor Marshall. Alright, now we can show this. Take that! Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest. Oh yes! At last you finally brought it out into the open. There's a handprint on this piece of cloth. Your Honor, the prosecution requests that to be immediately sent to the lab for analysis. This handprint on the leather. There must have been a strong impact for it to be left so clearly. You mean, it could not have been forged. It must be authentic, conclusive evidence. Oh, Gant, you don't even understand, dude. You're as slow on the uptake as ever, Worthy. What? Think about it. Wright had all this time to present this evidence. Yet he was reluctant to do so. Why would that be? You mean you already know? You know whose fingerprints are on that? Blah. Mr. Wright, do you really know? Whoever the fingerprints belong to must be the real murderer. Whose fingerprints are they? Very well. I'll tell you. It should be okay now. Everything's proceeding as predicted. The person whom these fingerprints belong to are... Emma Sky. Take that! Now you might wonder, like, why am I doing all this? Emma Sky? What? They're mine? I'm sorry, Emma. But why? Why didn't you tell me? You might wonder, but you'll understand. Oh, you're really something, Righto. You knew this girl did it all along, and you still tried to pin the murder on me. So it's true. Tragic but true. This girl really did shove Prosecutor Marshall to his death. How could you? You monster! Miss Sky, you knew whose fingerprints those were all along, yet you acted like she really didn't. Miss Sky, it's not over yet. What? I said this trial isn't over yet. Ha! But I'm afraid it is over, boy. Not only this trial, but your career, too. See, if you had done the other way, the bad ending would come. I'm not gonna do the bad ending, I'm doing the good ending. You purposely concealed this conclusive evidence. That, my friend, is a serious offense. I'm looking forward to pressing charges after the defendant is convicted. I'll have your badge, boy. What's the matter? Cat got your tongue? Aren't you going to tell us how it feels? How it feels to be the one who single-handedly turned a poor little girl into a murderer? Before I do that, there's just one little thing I have to clear up. Oh, and what's that? Who really killed Prosecutor Neil Marshall? What? Chief Gant, you are absolutely right. This piece of cloth proves who the real murderer is. Who killed Neil Marshall, you ask? It was Emma Sky, wasn't it? I'm afraid that's not possible. You see, this piece of cloth contains a critical contradiction. What? A contradiction? What is this fool babbling about? I'm talking about a contradiction, one that proves who the real killer is. Mr. Wright, this piece of cloth, what could it possibly contradict? Chief Gant, your tyrannical reign ends here. Safe, because I don't want to get it wrong. If I do that, then I'm freaking stupid. Let's do it. The final part. Behold, the piece of evidence that contradicts this cloth. So you got the cloth here. It's just so tampered, right? Yeah, someone left behind an oil stain on the fabric. Whoever it was, they must have had a really oily hand. That's right, think about it, scientifically. Huh? A more likely explanation is the person slipped and fell on a freakishly waxed floor, getting wax all over their hands. Well, that would account for this amount of oil, I guess. I don't see what's so scientific about it, though. It happens, you know. I always slip on floors at school after they're waxed. So, it's oily. It's, you know, what, I actually don't remember now. Oh god, I had this all planned and then... Damn. think I know what it is. No. Crap. I don't think I can remember. Why don't I remember? Crap! I'm sorry, guys. I really am. Let's try this.
Take that!
Oh, it's fun watching you squirm, Righto. This piece of evidence indeed seems to contradict something. Like your outward appearance of mental sanity. Crap. Sorry. Crap, I honestly can't, I had all this, it was going so well. Okay. I feel like I know what it was. I can't absolutely remember. Oh, what's going on? Right, come on. Yeah, one right here.
Take that!
Shit. I didn't mean to hit that one. I think it's the cloth itself.
Take that!
Okay, maybe it's not. That was not it. Okay, see, great finale. Just fail everything. Okay. Very sharp sword you have there. Oh, duh, there it is, right there. And what exactly is this supposed to be? This is the picture Miss Sky took. Take a good look at it. There it is, right there. The blood stain. See where the piece of his vest was cut out? Yes. His shirt is showing underneath. This is hard to make out with all the blood on his vest, though. Exactly my point. His chest is soaked with blood. That's only natural. His lungs, no doubt, were punctured. Blood poured out of his mouth. Oh, but that piece of cloth. It's got no blood on it. Completely blood-free. Wait, there's no blood on it. Ah! Since Emma Sky's fingerprints are on this cloth, there's no doubt that she shoved the prosecutor aside. However, Mr. Marshall was not impaled on the sword. No! This is nonsense! Now then, Chief Gant, let me ask you something. Prosecutor Marshall was not impaled when he was shoved aside. He most likely hit his head on the ground and was knocked out. If so, then tell me, who could it have been? Who could have arrived at the scene before Miss Sky? Picked up the unconscious prosecutor, and impaled him on the armor's sword. Then, to make it look like Emma was responsible for the prosecutor's death, said person proceeded to write her name on the jar with the victim's blood. Then he broke the jar on purpose to leave behind a clue, and make Lana believe her sister did it. Remember what you admitted only moments ago? That you personally cut out this bloodless piece of the victim's vest. Ironic, isn't it? Through the very act of creating insurance, you prove that you were the actual murderer. No! I did a really bad one right there. It's finished. Oh, God. Heh. Oh, that was close, Fredo. You almost had me. Sorry, but you'll have to do better than that. I refute your allegations. What do you mean you refute his allegations? You see, that piece of cloth is illegal evidence. Oh, really? Order! Order! What nonsense is this? Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a suspect. Remember, Udgy. Earlier, old Wright here concealed that piece of cloth. So then, what's your excuse, Wright? You do have some conclusive evidence, don't you? Your Honor, I don't have any evidence I can present at this point in time. Well, that's true. The defense did refuse to present evidence. At that moment, that piece of cloth ceased to be legal evidence. But that's not fair. Ho 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 ho! Do you actually think you could best me in court? It looks like the last laugh's on you, son. I'm afraid Mr. Gant's claim is legally correct. Well, Mr. Edgeworth? True. Illegal evidence cannot be used to convict a person. Assuming, of course, that the evidence is indeed illegal. Well, Mr. Wright? It seems, at last, the time for me to reveal my plan has finally arrived. Mr. Wright, do you admit to it? That you purposely and illegally concealed this piece of cloth? Crap. If I say I did... Well, it wasn't really illegal. It was kind of still legal. I mean... Oh, shit. Well, I did do that, so yeah, I guess I did. So, go. No, if I admit to it, that all my planning will have been for nothing. It seems. What the heck? Okay. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. That was just a stupid mistake, sorry. Did not. Sorry. Certainly, I refused to present evidence at one point. Aha! So the evidence is illegal.
Objection!
No, it isn't, Mr. Gant. Huh? It's not that I didn't present evidence then. It's that I couldn't. What do you mean, you couldn't? There are certain procedures involved when presenting evidence. No, Udgy, don't listen to his lies. He's nothing but a coward. You can't let him.
Objection!
There is only one issue left to be resolved in this trial. Is this evidence legal or not? Very well. Let us settle this once and for all. Earlier you refused to present evidence. If you can prove your conduct was not in violation of the law, then do so now. What's up, bro? Evidence law!
Take that!
This is my proof, Your Honor. Evidence law. What's this? I've done my homework too, Chief. Indeed, Emma Sky's fingerprints were on this piece of cloth. However, at that point in time, this was merely a piece of cloth, nothing more. What? You see, it's written right here in this book. The second rule of evidence law. Rule 1. No evidence shall be shown without the approval of the police department. I found this piece of evidence myself, inside your safe. It goes without saying, I did not have approval from the police department. Sorry about the pause, I had to do something. I didn't have approval from the police department. Rule 2. Unregistered evidence presented must be relevant to the case and trial. And here is the crux of the matter. You see, at the time, it was impossible for me to prove the relevance between the cloth and the SL9 incident. What? What kind of nonsense is this? You want relevancy? Just take one look at this picture and...
Objection!
Sorry, but can you recall when was that picture can you recall when was that picture presented? That was shown only a few moments ago. No. He's right. At the beginning of today's trial, that piece of cloth was still meaningless. The person who gave it value as evidence was you, Damon Gant. Metal Gear. You yourself confessed to a certain truth. Let me verify this once more. On the day of the crime, you personally cut out this piece of the victim's vest? Oh, yes! No! It was then that you approved this cloth as conclusive evidence. Yes, you, the chief of police, personally approved this cloth. The only person who could have cut this from the victim's vest is the one who stood before Prosecutor Marshall in his final moments. In other words, the real murderer, and there's only one person who that could be. Damon Gant. The killer was you.
I knew I should have gotten rid of him. That good-for-nothing scum. For 2 years he's been snooping around the department, trying to get something on me. Crimes are being committed every day, yet he insisted on hounding me.
Well, your crime wasn't exactly petty. He wanted to reinvestigate the case. He recruited Angel Starr, then convinced Bruce Goodman. Detective Goodman? Yeah, that's right. If the evidence is transferred, I'll lose my only chance to find out the truth. Please, you've got to help me. Goodman turned him down, as he ought to. Still, Jake Marshall didn't know when to quit. He stole Goodman's ID card and tried to take the evidence. Goodman came to me that day. He wanted to file a lost item report. I went with him to the evidence room. Then all of a sudden he had to speak out. What are you talking about, Goodman? Can you please reopen the investigation, Chief? We can't transfer the evidence out. There are too many questions left unanswered. He told me to open up the evidence room and take it out. It's not too late. I'll hand this to Marshall. Well, to be honest, I was a little panicked too. I had a bad feeling about it, but never knew it would come to this. That's when I saw it. That accursed knife. Ooh. I couldn't just pull it out. You would only increase the amount of blood you couldn't finish, and you couldn't finish what you started. Even so, the blood was just pouring out. I didn't know who might stumble in, so I was wiping it up. I was worrying so much about the floor, I didn't realize my mistake. Detective Gumshoe's bloody handprint. Oh, Goodman's, sorry. Blech. I used to be known as the crime computer, but everyone has to start somewhere, I guess. I was too nervous. I had no business doing any of it. Then you put the body in my car? I'm sorry, we couldn't think of any other way to move the body. We broke the trunk, but what's the big deal? You pull down a lot more than us detectives. Yeah. What does this have to do with anything? You're horrible. How could you get Miss Sky involved in all of this? Well, she had as much to lose as I did if the truth came out. So you took the evidence from Detective Goodman's locker. I feel bad for having to do it. I couldn't sit around and pick and choose what to take. Well, you left the jar fragment in gloves. Yeah. It looks like I was better off being an investigator of crimes than a committer. They all did their best to get in my way. I've got to hand it to them. They do their jobs well, much to my dismay. Fake evidence doesn't hold up very well upon close examination. You must have known that. Tell me, Worthy, what are you doing in court? Me? You despise criminals. I can feel it. You and me, we're the same. One day you'll understand. If you want to take them on alone, you'll figure out what's needed.
Ooh. Well, looks like it's time to say goodbye.